Well, I know they elected this new speaker, Mike Johnson, whom many people are very upset with because he's giving out more aid to people other than us, the American citizen, whom with the amount that they've given out, all of us could own a house. And we wouldn't want you to do that, but I digress. So I finally looked at this because in this particular instance of introducing Mike Johnson, he introduced him as the 45. He's 45, 45th. And I wanted to see if it was actually a mistake or, if somebody caught the misspeaking or what. So let's go.
Thank you, Whip. Well, this is a great day. This is a day that's been coming for a long time. If you think about what's happened these last 3 weeks, while a lot of people outside of Washington talk about dysfunction.
This is actually an even better one than I thought. So he's pretty much just going off the cuff. And we love those. There's no reading. There's no nothing. And everybody in the back, they have an idea of what he's going to be talking about, but not really. They don't have this pre-printed speech that they got in their hand, like this is what he's going to say, this is what's going to be done, the whole scripted nonsense. And we rarely get the unscripted these days. I was like, ooh, this might be good.
This great group of men and women behind me have been talking about how to fix what's broken in Washington. And
so here we have him, what to fix, what's broken in Washington. And his body is singing with him. The emphasis is going on the beat that it should be going. And we watch the background folks on this.
About dysfunction. This great group of men and women behind me have been talking about how to fix what's broken in Washington.
You see the nod in the positive very slightly. It's very minimal movement. But on Mike Johnson, you see it a little bit. It comes in very slightly, and then it gets a little bit more in the sense of yes, bigger.
And hasn't that discussion been coming for way too long? That's what this last 3 weeks has been about. That's what we have been struggling through. That's what we've been working towards, and we resolved it today by electing Mike Johnson as our next speaker. And what Mike laid out was a vision.
All right, I'm watching Mike Johnson as he does it, and I was like, has he got bubble gum in his mouth?
Been coming for way too long. That's what this last 3 weeks has been about. That's what we have been struggling through. That's what
Actually, I think he's eating something. I don't know what he's eating.
Washington. And hasn't that discussion been coming for way too long? That's what
So I see a suction thing on his mouth, and this is important because if he's flexing his jaw in stress, it's kind of like, oh, then it would tell us that this is not the man that these people are saying he is. But he's sucking on something, and then a chew happens. It's kind of like, well, that means nothing then. He's eating something.
This last 3 weeks has been about. That's what we have been struggling through. That's what we've been working towards, and we resolved it today by electing Mike Johnson as our next speaker. And what Mike laid out was a vision. Wasn't just core principles that he talked about today on the House floor so eloquently, but a vision for how we get not just the House back operating, but how we get Washington working better, how we fix this broken institution, and how symbolic. Mike talked in the House chamber about the symbolism of the House chamber, Moses, in God we trust, right above the Speaker's rostrum. So many other symbols, Washington, Lafayette, the history of some of the great battles, passing the 13th Amendment in that chamber. But if you look up at this Capitol dome that serves as a beacon to so many, not just here in America, but all around the world, interestingly, the last 3 weeks, the Statue of Freedom was covered in scaffolding. Just like we have been doing construction to fix this broken institution, how symbolic that the scaffolding is now coming down as we elected a new speaker to fix this institution that's had problems for decades, that needed to be addressed and went ignored for way too long.
All right, so it looks like I'm actually watching more of the guys in the back now that they didn't even notice the scaffolding. So that's kind of like news to them. Oh, wow, it's symbolic? We're doing symbolism now? Oh, wow. Mike Johnson's going to be the guy. Oh, let's pat him on the back, or I should say the shoulder at this point. You have the guy behind him like, oh, yeah. The ladies are like, oh, yeah.
I've seen this man in action since I was a state representative. For those people that don't know Mike Johnson, maybe they're looking to Google, maybe they're looking to other places. But those of us who have known Mike Johnson for a long time, and I've known him maybe longer than most, I've seen a commitment, a self-service commitment to things bigger than himself, going back to my days in the State House and when he came to Congress. Those same principles followed him.
So as he's talking about this, principles bigger than himself, right before that goes, the mind is already racing. He's getting an idea of times in the past. And that's when you see the stress movement in the mouth. And I'm going to take that because of he's looking in memory, that there may have been a lot of stress in those times of bucking the system. And so when I see this, it's like, we can all assume he's had an easy life, but it could have been hard. But obviously this time that he went through in the past that he's reflecting on, to him was pretty damn hard.
Those same principles followed him. His belief, his faith that drives him so deeply, that some actually mock him for. Those are the principles that make this country so great. Those are the principles that cause people who believe in freedom all around.
Those principles, and then you see the bobbing of the head up and down that make this country so great. And it's true.
Around the world to look up at that Statue of Freedom as a beacon of hope for all around the world. And what Mike Johnson is going to do for us and our country, getting us back on track. We are just getting started, but people are going to come to know and love what he represents because he fights for things bigger than himself and people who have been ignored for way too long. It is my great privilege to introduce the 45th Speaker of the House, my dear friend.
So the 45th Speaker of the House, his face, his smile is so big it looks like the Joker. And we're talking about Johnson.
It is my great privilege to introduce the 45th Speaker of the House, my dear friend.
So we have the I movements there, the 45th Speaker of the House, and it's an acceptance of the 45. His mind has literally taken in that information because he was listening intently. We're going to the hearing area. And he's taken that in and has accepted 45. You can conspirize all you want on that, but that is what I see.
Mike Johnson, the Speaker.
So then they give an embrace, and right before that you see a negative, but is not in the negative mindset. It's more of a can't believe we did it moment because the smile is there, the sheepishness is there. He's happy. True embrace.
If you like it, please share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.
If you'd like to learn more about analysing body language, there is a video course available on Mandy's website for Gold subscribers.